Welcome to Mysterium, where we taste the wonder and mystery of all of this. What is this? In this video, we will turn the imaginal eye to the Yin-Yang symbol, aka Tai Jitu, I hope the pronunciation was decent, which translates to Diagram of the Supreme Ultimate. I do feel that this symbol lives up to its name. If you haven't seen my video series on Imaginal Perception, you can click on them here at the top right corner. As a refresher, Imaginal Perception is a way of looking at and through phenomenon to its tendrils of interrelations. It's a way of perceiving that is attuned to wholeness, engaging your thinking, feeling, imagination, and embodiment. All phenomena are embedded within a whole and exist because of interrelations, similar to how features of a tapestry are inherently contextual. This lens is capable of holding both perspectives of either or and both and, perceiving both parts and wholes. With this in mind, let us see what the diagram of the Supreme Ultimate is pointing us towards. Yin and Yang, darkness and light, are inseparable from wholes and each other, as both compose the whole and are within each other. Depicted by the smaller circle within each of the larger sections, Yin is within Yang and Yang is within Yin. The curved edge between them represents flowing relations rather than rigid separation. The appearance of rotation represents flux and process, all encircled within Yin's boundlessness or integration. It points towards how reality as a whole arises from the dynamic interactions of opposing yet complementary forces, relations, and activities of Yin and Yang. Put differently, a functional and complex whole emerges from the integrative unfolding of the polarity between Yin-like and Yang-like phenomena. For example, stars exist because of both the expansion of nuclear fusion and contraction of gravity. Yes, it's my favorite analogy again. And a healthy human knows how to maintain boundaries to get things done and protect themselves, and how to let go of boundaries to let in new experiences and develop intimacy with others. A whole or a system tends to fail when there's a prolonged imbalance in the polarity. Think of a parent who is always tough on their child and rarely holds them gently. What kind of relationship would that cultivate? Or a parent who never disciplines their child? Or a person who only knows how to speak and not listen? Or the ecosystem collapse that happened at the Yellowstone National Park because the predators, being the wolves, were killed off, and that allowed the prey to ravage the vegetation. Wonderfully, the ecosystem gradually recovered after the wolves were reintroduced to the park 70 years later, when the dynamic balance was restored. Let's get into some of the significations of Yin and Yang. Traditionally, Yin and Yang are respectively known as darkness and light, passive and active, feminine and masculine. I will attempt to derive the other two pairings by imaginally contemplating the phenomena of darkness and light. In everyday experience, we can observe how darkness is passive in the way it is receptive to the activity of light. Darkness is passive and receptive in the encompassing and ever-present background, whereas light is active and assertive and claims the foreground. Wherever and whenever light disappears, darkness returns. In increasing darkness, the appearance of things moves towards integration and losing distinction, whereas in increasing light, the appearance of things moves towards differentiation and gaining distinction. What can we draw from tracing to the source of the phenomena of darkness and light? The source of darkness is reality itself. The vast cosmic womb is primarily of darkness. All emerges from and returns to the primordial darkness. Darkness as void and potential, like how empty space contains potential energy, or quoting from the Tao Te Ching how, quote, "We shape clay into a pot, but it is the emptiness inside that holds whatever we want. We hammer wood for a house, but it is the inner space that makes it livable. We work with being, but non-being is what we use." End quote. Formlessness is pure potentiality, and pure potentiality is the receptivity to any form. Formlessness is receptive to the ingression of forms, as darkness is to the activity of light. Formlessness and darkness are not merely the absence of something, they are primordial and necessary complementary opposites to form and light. Stars are the primary source of light in the dark and vast expanse of space. They are the first forms to distinctly differentiate themselves from the undifferentiated cosmic womb. The original forms that emerge from the darkness and forge greater differentiation through heavier elements and continue to provide energy and vitality to all subsequent forms. The light of our star, the sun, projects outwards, making its presence felt and prominent as the foreground within the background of darkness. Sunlight is penetrative, and the distinction between you and the sun can easily be sensed. Without any protection, looking directly at the sun is usually not good for you. And with enough time in the sun, you will get burned. The sun acts upon you and not the other way around. It is assertive in nature, radiating outwards and impressing itself upon you. Darkness, by contrast, draws you inward, inviting you to explore its mysterious depths. The sun enforces its boundaries and is repulsive by nature, while darkness has no boundary and is attractive. Now, we will bridge to the feminine yin and masculine yang. Within this archetypal framework, the feminine embodies relationality, naturally attuned to relational phenomena such as emotions, bonds, interpersonal dynamics, and interconnectedness. The basis of relationality is receptivity. Relations are possible because of an underlying openness to the other, like darkness to light. The masculine, in contrast, embodies distinction, naturally attuned to phenomena of differentiation, such as this and that, boundaries, competencies, and hierarchies. The basis of distinction is assertion. To be distinct is to actively exercise one's essence, like the sun brilliantly distinguishing itself from the cosmic background. As you may have noticed, yin and yang on their own are not quite wholes. What are relations without distinct things to be related? And what is the I, which presupposes an other, without the other? Neither feminine nor masculine is complete or coherent without its complement. All the magic is happening at the edge of this dynamic interplay. This is a key insight that the Yin-Yang points to, which is reality is non-dual. Things are conceptually distinct, but in reality they are one. It points to the unity of complementary opposites from the quantum to the cosmos. Distinctions are embedded within a reality that's fundamentally interconnected. Relations and distinctions make everything possible. You exist as the most complex living being that we know of because of complementary opposites: form and formlessness, day and night, life and death, expansion and contraction, masculine and feminine, individuated and interrelated, conceptual and embodied, finite and transcendent. Intriguingly, this unfolding process of the unity of opposites seems to have a direction: the process of complexification. That is, the process of increasing simultaneous differentiation and integration, yang and yin, of parts, yang, as greater functional wholes, yin. The process of complexification is, if you will, a multi-dimensional unfolding manifestation of yin and yang-like phenomena. Since the beginning of time, the through line appears to be of increasing complexity, from the early hydrogen and helium atoms that formed the first stars to all the heavier elements, planets, celestial objects, living organisms, cultures, cuisines, ideas, technologies in all of its various forms, and countless other expressions. Complexity arises from the dynamic interplay of the integration of opposing yet complementary differentiations. Think of organelles within cells embedded within the human body and all the various organ systems, and how we're within societies within humanity, which is within Earth's biosphere within the solar system, and so on, and how all of this is possible because of inhalation and exhalation, competition and cooperation, and superficial separation and deep underlying harmony. To me, this is a befitting North Star for the unfolding processes of yin-yang. Deviation from this pattern tends towards disintegration. Complexity or creativity is the closest we'll get to a never-ending creation. Is creation not the integration of differentiated parts? And a good creation is one that realizes harmony in that integration? As the diagram of the Supreme Ultimate, this is not just a concept. It's a symbol for the fundamental nature of reality, and it seems livable. Admittedly, embodiment, as usual, is the hardest part, and it's the part that ultimately matters. To start off, you could begin with developing your sense and conceptualization of the phenomenological qualities of yin and yang. Notice the sense of wholeness and interconnectedness in every breath and heartbeat, and notice the feeling of your free will, your capacity to choose, to focus, and to direct your attention. As you develop your embodied understanding of yin-yang, notice how imbalances in receptivity or assertion may underlie behavioral patterns you want to shift, and how the path may lie in cultivating the complementary quality, doing more of what doesn't come naturally. Easier said than done, of course, though it all begins with awareness. Awareness before change. ABC. For myself, I realized that I could help myself grow by feeling my emotions that I would normally disregard or suppress, being genuinely open to my partner's feedback, both are expressions of yin's receptivity, and having more structure in my daily life, yang's assertion. Lastly, I imagine that as one develops one's embodied sense of embeddedness and of complexity and creation as the dynamic interplay of integrated polarities, one may find it easier to meaningfully flow with situations and adjust to the context, rather than trying to force an outcome. Embodiment is interconnectedness in flux, and it's beyond the either-or fragmentary nature of conceptualization alone. Thinking tends to chop up phenomenon and cause separation. Embodiment and feeling tends to return to the wholeness of phenomenon, and both are necessary for the creation of wholeness. Everything has a rhythm and a timing. The pendulum always swings back, they say. And so wisdom seems to be the contextual application of knowledge, something like knowing when to feel, slow down, contract, receive, or let go, and when to think, zone in, expand, assert, and aim. This is not something that can be optimized or made into an instruction manual. It's a way of being in proper relation with a reality that's at the edge of order and chaos, to grasp but not be attached, and to let go but not be detached. And it's to be embodied in the continuously unfolding moment of the present, with presence. May we all find our way to our embedded and individuated self, not as a destination, but as a lifelong practice. That's a lot of conceptualization. Let us cleanse our palate with the first chapter of the Tao Te Ching. Quote, "The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. The unnameable is the eternally real. Naming is the origin of all particular things. Free from desire, you realize the mystery. Caught in desire, you see only the manifestations. Yet mystery and manifestations arise from the same source. This source is called darkness. Darkness within darkness, the gateway to all understanding." End quote. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Take care.